From insane body designs to huge wheels and supercars covered in gold. These are some of the craziest car cultures around the world. It's over the top, eye-popping, and everything we absolutely love. So how did they come about? Welcome to Xplained. Let's start with Bozozoku in Japan. Bozozoku-style cars are hard to miss. They're fitted with a unique aerodynamic-looking kit. The front lips jut out 3 to 5 feet from the vehicle's body, and the exhaust pipes stretch outwards and up in the air. They've got massive wheel fenders, large rear spoilers, and if that wasn't enough to grab your attention, they come in funky colours too. Bozozoku literally translates to violent running gang, and that's where this car culture got its start. After World War II, many Japanese pilots struggled with mental health and had a hard time returning to normal life, and that sparked the rise of motorcycle gangs around Japan. The bikes were eccentric, painted with bright colours, large flags, and straight pipe exhaust that were so loud you could hear them a mile away. The crazy modifications, minus the gang lifestyle of course, eventually passed on to Group 5 race cars of the 80s, like the Nissan Skyline Turbo Super Silhouette, Lancia Beta Monte Carlo Turbo, and Toyota Celica LB Turbo. Next up, the VIP-style cars of Thailand. Thailand is a hot pot of crazy cars, and if you've ever been on the streets of Bangkok, you've probably seen a whole lot of pimped-out rides. With actual VIP category cars being too expensive to buy or maintain, the locals decided to take things into their own hands, and thus Thailand's VIP-style cars were born. People modify all kinds of vehicles with this VIP style. People take cars like Hondas, Toyotas, Mazdas, Subarus, and Nissans and give them a whole new look. They're given a lower and wider stance, fitted with large, aggressive-looking wheels, suspensions, and body kits. But the customization doesn't end with the exterior of the vehicle. On the inside, dashboards are lined up with funky gauges, the interiors are given poppy colours, and to really stand out at night, these cars are fitted with neon lights, a lot of small screens, and have crazy audio systems. The VIP style is such a craze, it's made its way from cars to vans and even tuk-tuks. And if you hop into one of these after dark, you're guaranteed a crazy ride. Next, the supercars of the UAE. If you're not staring at massive skyscrapers in Dubai, you've probably got your eyes glued to the insane cars on the road. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maseratis and Porsches are plenty here. And there's an entire graveyard of abandoned supercars and sports cars as well.
This is where damaged supercars or cars that have been confiscated by the police or abandoned supercars come.
Even the police roll up in the coolest rides. Dubai is also home to some rare exotic cars like the Lykan Hypersport, the McLaren P1, the Lamborghini Veneno, and Batman's Batmobile, which Sergi actually got to drive. But it doesn't stop there. Enthusiasts take it a step further with extreme modifications. Some people cover their supercars in gold, others get slick upgrades from Brabus.
Beautiful Tiffany blue.
And some people even get their Nissan Patrols tuned up. In fact, some of them are so powerful, they give supercar owners a run for their money. And if all that isn't enough to make you stand out, you can always buy a rare number plate for millions of dollars. So how are there so many supercars and sports cars on the street? Safe road conditions, easy financing, low VAT, a tax-free income, and a massive used supercar market are just some of the reasons Dubai is a hotspot for these mean machines. If you've enjoyed the video so far and want to see more of these, hit that like button and subscribe to Xplained. Next, the spinners of South Africa. Spinning in South Africa is a lot like drifting, but instead of staying inside the car while it's spinning, the driver lets go of the steering wheel and jumps out or hangs outside the window to perform a stunt. It's dangerous, loud and scary to watch, but impossible to look away. Most of the cars are old BMWs with souped-up engines, suspensions, exhaust pipes, and a good set of wheels. But spinning is more about the crazy stunts and the sport than the car themselves. It started in the 1980s when gangsters would spin as a way to show off the cars they had stolen or as a mark of respect at their fallen hero's funeral. Spinning was more of an underground hobby until it was formally recognised as a motorsport in South Africa in 2014. By doing this, the authorities were able to keep crowds safe with barriers becoming mandatory. And with Red Bull launching an annual spinning competition in 2019, this underground activity has grown in mainstream popularity. Next up, the classics of Cuba. Cuba has one of the most unique car cultures in the world. Its streets are dotted with American classics from the 1930s to the 50s, and it makes you feel frozen in time. But how did these vintage beauties get here? In the early 20th century, Cubans imported around 143,000 cars from Chevrolet, Ford, Cadillac, Dodge, and Buick. But after the revolution in the late 1950s, Fidel Castro banned American cars and parts. So Cubans had to find creative ways to repair them with parts from other cars to keep them running over the years. These classics eventually got passed down within families and are considered important heirlooms. The Russian Lada is another classic that grew in popularity after the ban on American cars. This boxy but tough car made its way onto the island in the 1970s from the Soviet Union, and the government gave them to doctors, athletes, engineers, and scientists. The Lada is another generational treasure. So if you see someone ride by in a Russian Lada on the streets of Havana, you know their grandparents were someone important back in the day. Finally, we have donks in the US. Donks are part of the family of high-risers, but donks are special. And this nickname is typically given to a customized 1970s Chevrolet Caprice or Impala. These cars are modified with high suspensions, a huge set of rims and wheels, a wider body, shiny finishes, and candy-coloured or racy paint jobs that stand out. The trend began in the 1990s in South Florida and slowly made its way across the US. Donks are now so popular they have dedicated shops, clubs, and car shows around the country. Quite the opposite of high-riser donks are the famous low-riders of LA. These cars are symbolic of the Chicano community. They've got bright paint jobs with specks of metallic, custom velvet upholstery, and bouncy hydraulics. The trend goes back to the 1940s in Southern California, when Mexican-American veterans from World War II began tweaking their Chevys to stand out on the road. They added weights to lower the car's body, gave them cool paint jobs, and tinkered with the engine. So unlike the fast hot rods, their cars were uniquely low and slow. There are other insane car cultures out there like the boy racers in the UK, Ragga in Sweden that reflects the American greaser culture of the 1950s, the Tron-style cars in China, and Decorata in Japan, just to name a few. What car cultures do you love? Tell us about them in the comments, share the love, and don't forget to subscribe to Xplained.